So ladies and gentlemen, this is a fantastic opportunity for me to look for my applause as I welcome somebody I know personally. Welcome, Gamuchirai.
Thank you.
I am so excited that you can join us on After 5 Radio.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
Thank you for coming. And you know what? I don't know if I should tell people now or tell people later why you're so important in my life and what you've done and all the fights we're involved in. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. And so I just want you to know that we are excited because of the work that you do. And where do I start? Who is Gamuchirai? Exciting. Go on, tell us, who are you? What's so important about you that Coach Taff doesn't even know what to say?
Well, good evening to all the listeners at After 5 Radio. My name is Gamuchirai Chihambakwe, and I am Coach Taff's conscience.
Hold on right there. Did you just say you're Coach Taff's conscience? Hold on. We need to do this. Because we know that every coach needs some kind of conscience. Because
Exactly.
Well, tell us more about this, you being Coach Taff's conscience.
I'm the person who tells you what you don't want to hear when you need to hear it the most.
Well, it's so true. Ladies and gentlemen, Gamuchirai is a holder of an honors degree in English. And one of her hobbies is karting, whatever that means. Ndosaka play a song iyoye right now. Zvine chirungurungu mukati unoziva zvinhu zvamunoita so saka ndosaka play that particular song. But we are excited that you can join us, and indeed you are an editor. You are an editor of books, and I am looking at the list of books that you have edited. But beyond that, the people that you have been dealing with, oh my gosh, we're looking at a gentleman I know as well. His name is Wilson Katumba, and he's all the way out there in Mutare, and he's a pastor. Edwin Zikiti, 2 books. Pastor M.B. Shana. I didn't know Pastor Shana wrote a book. Oh my gosh, did you edit Pastor M.B. Shana's book?
Yes.
Pastor Langton Gatsi. Girl, you are a celeb. You are amazing. I'm going to jump the next one because I cannot know that guy. And then you also Tsungi Chiwara and another pastor, Pastor Imelda Tsumba. My word. Tell me, how did this all start, Gamu, for you to be linked with all these amazing names?
Well, for me, the story really started when I literally volunteered to edit a book that was being done by our senior pastors at church, and that's when it started. That was nearly 10 years ago. So this was just a voluntary basis thing, straight out of college, no job, nothing going on. So I said, hey, let me just try something out, and I had nothing to lose. So I went for it, and here I am.
Wow, that is really exciting. And why is it that you didn't include that on the number of books that you've edited? Was it because you volunteered? Are you getting paid for this? Is there money in editing? Come on, tell me.
Let's just say I don't like to toot my horn, but I think, there's some other people's work I've done as well. But I think I've worked as part of a team as well. You acknowledge that it wasn't your own effort. Okay. So you also submit to whoever the chief editor in that case was. So
okay. Now, because you've just told us that June Marim Kati, will you allow me to just play this song really quick and we come back and we go straight into our conversation?
Sure thing.
And here we go. Well, we played that song out and we are back with Gamuchirai Chihambakwe. So excited. And I think it is time I let the cat out of the bag. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman this young lady, should I call you a woman or a young lady? What would you prefer?
Knock yourself out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this young lady is the woman who is responsible for the Reckless verses. Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody needs to be given a big one, it is Gamuchirai. Because Gamu is the one who was editing. You edited Exit Your Excuses, and you also just finished editing Reckless verses. And I must say, a friend of mine, Dora Manyika, sent me something that I think is almost like a Reckless verse. It says, sometimes the hardest part of being a great catch is accepting not everyone's hands are strong enough to hold you.
Wow. Okay.
So, Gamu, you have really edited really powerful books. The Power Vision by Wilson Katumba, The Rebel in Me, Edwin Zikiti, Unplugged, Edwin Zikiti, Daily Encounters, Pastor M.B. Shana, Natural Wealth, Pastor Langton Gatsi, Exit Your Excuses, the one and only, Tafazka Mkoe, Reckless Verses, Tafazka Mkoe, Reflections of the Heart, Tsungichiwara, Stop the Abuse, Imelda Tsumba. Now let's just go through this journey of dealing with different personalities. What is the most difficult, and we mustn't be personal on this one, eh? What is the most difficult thing about dealing with personalities when you're editing books?
I think the thing that anyone must acknowledge in that is that writing a book is itself such a big personal thing, because it's almost like you're putting yourself on paper. And when you give your book to an editor, you are literally almost giving yourself to someone else to say, hey, how does this look? Hey, can you nitpick and take a look at what this looks like? So I think the greatest and most difficult thing for me has often been to just make sure that you don't take away from who has been put on paper, because it's not just about the words that they're communicating, they're communicating themselves. When you put yourself, Tafazo, on a paper, you're communicating your heart, you're communicating your emotion. So as an editor, is to just make sure that in your correcting and in your editing, you are staying true to the heart of the manuscript or the work that you're going through.
But so how do you then separate, the personality and the book persona and also the product? Because it's kind of like three things that you're dealing with. That there's the person that we won't talk about people who are not here. Let's actually let people know how difficult a client I've been. I mean, now that I made sure that my paper was sorted. So tell me, how do you then separate Tafanswa from the author, who is not the persona, and the message he's trying to send out to the world? How do you do that?
Okay, first of all, I like to look at myself as a midwife of sorts. I think that's the best example I can give. We all want the same thing. We all want to have this book or this baby delivered, right?
Right.
So how do I help Tafadzwa from not just delivering any sort of baby, but the best that he can? So I have to now be honest with you to say, Tafadzwa, look, I think here you made a mistake. I think here you may be wanting to communicate this idea, but it's coming across as this. Because remember, when your readers are reading your book or going through your poetry, they're not sitting with you to have you explain a point. So I'm trying to help you, not just as an editor, but also as a fellow reader, to say, hey, look at this. Can you consider rephrasing it? And then there's just the general punctuation and things like grammar that we just generally have to clean out. But the communication of ideas, we then have to be objective in that. So I have to be honest with you, regardless of how difficult Tafadzo can be.
Are you talking to me, or are you using me as an example?
I'm just using an objective, throwing it out there for After 5 Radio.
Well, that's really exciting for me to hear that. And so when people are writing, sometimes they forget to look at the audience. Are you loyal to the author or to the audience, or is there a difference right there?
ultimately, okay, there are two things. In being loyal to the audience, I'm being loyal to the author.
Oh, that's clever. I tell you what, there's a lady who's a part of us. She's based in the UK. Her name is Janice Diaries. Hey Janice, did you hear that one? That was tweetable as well. Can you repeat that again? I mean, that's a tweetable tweet, girl.
I said, in being loyal to the audience,
Yeah.
I'm being loyal to the author.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And how? Please elucidate. Go further. Go deeper.
Sound at this point. Okay, so what I mean is that who are you writing to? You're writing to your audience. You're not writing to yourself. So I'm standing there as your first fan, your first audience, if that is something that we can say. I'm here. I'm giving you feedback. From a technical point, also from a point of just reading and going through your book. So in being complicit with the audience, I'm helping you as the author to then achieve or even excel at what you're doing in the way you're communicating to us. Because at the end of the day, people need to read your book. You want to sell your book. You want people to talk about your book. You want people to think about this book made me feel this way. This book made me think in a different way. This book opened my eyes in a certain way. But again, who is saying that? It's the audience. So I must side with the audience to help you. And then as well, that is how we achieve the goal, the editor and the author.
So that's really cool. I look at all the books that you have edited. And there are quite a number of very powerful men and women of God. My pastor, who run big churches and all of that. Plagiarism, but plagiarism. How do you infuse somebody's voice into their content, into their craft, into their creativity? Because sometimes I look at the big names you've got there, and the temptation is them to rewrite the Bible. And I look at those titles. I haven't read all of those books, but how do you infuse a voice? How do you identify an author's voice and drop it in there?
Well, the advantage that we have with a lot of the authors that we work with there is that a lot of them are speakers. So you will find that a lot of speakers then they take their messages and then turn them into books. Okay. So what they're basically doing is building on something they've already given to an audience. Say, for instance, they've already spoken about what it is they're communicating. So just to make sure that the person is moving away from plagiarism, it's a thin line, because also, for instance, if it's you, Tafazwa, if I'm calling you Pastor Tafazwa, and I know that your pastor or the person who you get your influence from is a famous pastor, and I know that the way you will write is influenced by that pastor, the whole idea is then for me to say, hey, I get what you're saying, but then how can we put it in your voice, or how do we communicate it in a way that it's genuinely from you? Because, for instance, everyone listens to these big pastors, so it's quite easy to identify that that looks like it's not authentic, or that sounds like this person. So it's a back and forth, it's a push and pull, but it's the whole idea is to make sure that the author is coming across with their own ideas, their own points of view, and what they feel, for instance, with the pastors, what they sense God has placed on their heart to say.
So let's talk about the frustration of bad English. I don't know what you go through, but I can only imagine is that part of your work is doing the dirty work, the dirty cleaning, cleaning out. That when the chikepe was coming, some of it got wet, some of it capsized and got lost and sunk. And so, I mean, how frustrating is it sometimes you open a book and you're like, this book is not even done. I mean, it's almost like the author is saying, write my book for me. How do you deal with that?
You know what? Actually, as you were just even saying that, I actually had such an experience recently. I was working on a book, and to be honest, I think in some cases you actually stop being just an editor. You also become a writer, because you need to help this person. You know that this is not, you can't send this out like this. So you then communicate with your author and say, hey, look, okay, I see what you're trying to say, but let's reconstruct this. So now you're actually reconstructing chunks of text to then communicate that idea. So you're maintaining the voice. You must maintain the voice of the person that you are trying to, to show forth. But then, how do we do it in a way that's clean, in a way that's articulate, that's in a way that people can understand? So often that's what it is. You're having to reconstruct text.
Wow. The last time I checked, you were not married. Are you married now?
Yeah, last time I checked, I think I wasn't.
Which means...
Thanks for throwing that in.
I just want to make sure, because now all the brothers who are out there, you know that Reckless Verses has taken a new twist. All the brothers who are trying to come and speak Chirungu Kwauri, it means Urukuta Basare Kumaka Chirungu Chawanu. Let's listen to this song and we'll be back just now. So that was Kaz Khalif, and playing out there with Titan. Titan was featuring in that particular song, Chimoko. And I don't know what Chimoko, I can't really edit. Let's not go there. Before I get into trouble with my naughty voice, naughty statements. But I just got a message from one of the authors who came before you. Her name is Faith Chipangura, and she's still logged on, just listening out to you. And this is what she's got to say about you. She says that is something. She is a powerhouse. Now tell me, I mean, with this sort of profile, I'm a bit concerned, Kuti. What could go there with nice simple boy? I mean, I'm just saying, because I mean, authors of note are hearing what you're talking about and they're sharing all these amazing things. So let's go back to the business of editing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a future for Zimbabwean editors? And when you look at that future, I want it to be a double-barreled question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a future? Number one. Number two, what is the quality of editing in Zimbabwean, literary works? Is there a future, and what is the quality?
Let me say this. There is a present and a future.
Okay.
Right now, there's we've just come out of a lockdown, and what were people doing? A lot of people, like yourself, were writing books. That's what everyone, if they weren't writing books, they're thinking about writing books, they were drafting books. So there is such a market out there. And I think the truth is that editors are few in number, and they don't market themselves, they don't put themselves out there. So definitely there is not just going to be a market, there is currently a market for editors and for anyone who endeavors to be in that space. So if there's anyone out there listening and you're thinking about, and you have the skill, go for it. You start where you are, start small, start with that one person, and you can go for it. As to the quality of editing, definitely there's room for improvement, as with everything else in our country.
Right.
But I think we're definitely coming up to a place where the editors are now of note, and you have more experience, more qualified. I don't even look at myself as a very experienced person. I'm still learning. I'm still going through it, because editing is not just me looking at a text, but now it involves a lot more communicating with the writer. I think before it was just a situation where someone sends their book to an editor and then you give them a crazy deadline and then you get it back. But now I think in a space where we've had time to sit down and think, there's room for further discussion. Give your editor more time to improve the quality of your edit. Have the conversations, argue over your book, and work through the points and work through the kinks. It improves the quality of what you're doing and improves the quality of your editor as well. So definitely, I think the quality of what we have editing in Zim, our literacy rates are very high. So I would definitely vouch for Zim editors. They're good. I think it's just then the professionalism to then follow through to say, can we have a discussion? And rather than just it be a once-off and then the work is gone.
So the good thing for you is that you actually have a degree in English, and from one of our oldest universities, the University of Zimbabwe. And what we are beginning to see is when we say O level, edit a book. When we're looking for editors, I mean, I'm going to stick with you because I think you're an amazing editor. By the way, where is that clapping of hands? Hold on. There we go.
Should I talk to myself? Thank you.
I really think that you're an amazing editor because both of us have matured, and so there's number one, the qualification. What sort of qualifications do people need? And most importantly, I think you and I, especially when we look at Reckless Verses, I can see how our relationship has built this poetry book. And so please tell me about the relationship with the author, as well as the qualifications. What else should an editor have in their toolkit?
So let me just qualify and tell you now that when we were at school and at university, they did not teach us editing skills. We went through bouts and I don't know how many books that we read, and we had to read them in a short space of time. But then because we became such avid readers, we gained experience and exposure to different types of writing, different forms of writing. You've got poetry, you've got prose, you've got different things, different ways of communicating an idea. So it's not necessarily the qualification that makes you a good editor. It's the practice. It's the investment in learning things about editing and grammar, and even looking up words are evolving even now. So the way we used to speak 10 years ago is not the way we now speak. There are certain things that were taboo 10 years ago, but now, Tafadzamkwe is there doing the most and putting it in his work. So you see, you have to.
I think before the end of this conversation, you must tell us which one was your favorite Reckless verse.
I knew that question was coming. So definitely, it's then just working through that and making sure that you're improving. I think that's the key thing. An editor must improve. You can't be the same. You have to be invested in what you're doing. Just even in the past year, just even the feedback. Don't be afraid of negative feedback. I think that was one thing that I was once very afraid of. But just to get that feedback, it improves you as an editor to say, this is what you need to look at. This is where I feel like you didn't do so much as an editor. So that feedback is also important, and being able to create it not just in that piece of work, but in the work in the future.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna listen to Gemma just for a moment, and she gives us a version of Winky D's song, and I hope you like this one, Gamuchirai. Let's play Gemma Griffins.
Okay.
It's not his fault. He didn't get here on his own. Daddy, don't be angry. Please leave the man alone. Dakachem, Musarava Bigima, Baba Musarava Bigima.
Okay, OL. OL, I thought about you today. How I wish abstaining was better than indulging. You gave of yourself without a break. What a pleasure for every wake. How I wish I could have you one more time. Unonakasha. OL, just because I won't have you doesn't mean I don't want you, L. Maybe thinking about you was just a reminder that I still want you. Maybe I need a reminder to forget you. But how can I wish away? How can I wish I could have you one more time? Unonakasha. Oh, Al, I could swear in the privacy of my thoughts. Yes, in those chambers you reside. I bit my lower lip, closed my eyes, smiled a little, and made my familiar sigh. I would swear, you felt the tremors of my longings as I shook my head in honor of the amazing times we had. How I wish I could have you one more time, Unonakasha. Oh, Al, if I hadn't known about your smooth texture, the buds that you carry, your softness, the pleasure of your sight, oh, and your sweet, sweet smell. If I hadn't known that temptation is not a sin, I would be tempted to sin. How I wish I could have you one more time, Unonakasha. Oh, Al, we both know the weight that I carry, and it doesn't help to know that you will have me either way. Now I don't know which way is the right way. I've chosen my way as the right way, and on my way I carry you all the way. This way is the only way. I know how best to handle my intent, but I won't pretend how I wish I could have you one more time. Unonakasha. Oh, Al, if loss had a program, then I am indeed a lost program, walking away from my loss, or maybe I am lost. How am I walking away from what I want? How do I want what I am walking away from? But there is no walking away from the truth. How I wish I could have you one more time. Unonakasha. Oh, Al, it's not that I'm famished. I know this is not a hunger, but a hunt. A hunt for the pleasures we once had. You can blame me for my choices, but I chose you by choice. My choices now haunt me, and in my election, I have to choose daily. How I wish I could have you one more time. Unonakasha. And this is my favorite part. Oh, Al, oh, Al. Oh, Al, my almond cake. Unonakasha. But I am on a diet. Oh, Al, oh, Al. Oh, Al, my almond cake. I'm walking away. Asi, Unonakasha. Reckless verses by Chihambakwe.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Another explosion. Another one. Maybe we must do an air horn. Oh, so my gosh. And I wonder what the listeners on After 5 Radio were thinking this was all about. But Gamuchirai, we want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
For dealing with crazy people like Coach Taff. And look, you have also inspired that this program is called Reckless Verses, because we believe that a lot of people have got a lot to say. So we talk to editors, we talk to poets, we talk to authors, we talk to speakers, and so that we can hear what they have got to say. And communication is a very key issue. I don't know if you've got any last words, but we want to thank you. You are super awesome, like Faith said. You are dynamite. You are powerful. Any last words from you, my editor?
Just to everyone out there, keep safe, keep it real, but keep strong. Your vision is true, and looking forward to editing books.
Wonderful. And so thank you once again. We will release you, and we're going to get into a song by Shona Essay and DJ Fresh. And once again, thank you so much for being with us, Gamuchirai, Chihambakwe. But before you go, can you please give us your contact details really quick, so that if there's anybody out there who's listening in, people like Dora, who I've just mentioned, they may want to get your contact details.
So, as I said, my name is Gamuchirai Chihambakwe. You can look me up on Facebook. If you'd like to hit me up on Twitter, I'm also there, Gamuchirai Chihambakwe. And send me a message and I'll get back to you.
And that's only for editing, guys. Well, goodbye and thank you so much. God bless you, Gamu. We'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you.